Hi, I'm Jamie-Lynn Sigler, and welcome to Living With It, a 10-part series about what it means to keep going when life doesn't go according to plan. Through honest conversations with people who've experienced loss, illness, grief, and life's unexpected challenges, as well as experts who help us navigate them, we hope you'll leave each episode feeling inspired, understood, and a little less alone. The following message is brought to you by Novartis. Hi, I'm Jamie-Lynn Sigler. When it comes to relapsing MS treatments, your choice matters. That's why talking to your doctor about your options is a big deal. But how do you know what to ask? Figuring that out can be daunting. That's why I partnered with Novartis to create an MS treatment decision guide. It's packed with helpful info and questions for your doctor to help make an informed decision. Trust me. The more prepared you are, the more confident you'll feel. Download the guide right to your phone only at treatmentdecisionguide.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Living With It. Today's guest is single-handedly one of my most favorite people in the entire world. We've known each other for years. We've raised our kids alongside each other. We have laughed together, traveled together, cried together, survived Hollywood together. And through all of that, I have watched her become one of the most fiercest, honest, compassionate, authentic, realist people, but most importantly, moms that I've ever known. And one thing I admire about her in particular is how openly she shared her family's journey, whether that's through her marriage or her self-reflection with her beautiful oldest daughter, Charlie. And not because it's easy, but because I think she knows another parent might need to read the words and finally feel less alone. And that's what this podcast is about. It's about living with the things that life hands us, the unexpected, the beautiful, the complicated. So please welcome my best friend, Odette Annable.
Hello. Wow. What a welcome. Geez, I need to print that out and put it on my mirror.
I've got it printed for you with my chicken scratch, so I'll send it to you.
Great. Please do. Just a little reminder. Everybody needs it.
That's right. That's right. Well, listen, I've had you on all of my other podcasts before. You so generously have always shared your time. But in particular, I really wanted to talk about your family because I think you have really done the work. And you're an example of somebody that is in the process of it and is still, unapologetically honest. Like, you don't know everything and you're figuring it out as you go. But I think that tends to be the people that we gravitate towards more, that aren't the experts, that are in it, in the trenches with us, that are offering their insights with what they're learning through that. And so before we get into it, for everyone listening that doesn't know your family, tell us about each of your family members, all the players in your team, a little bit about each of them.
Well, I think, first of all, I think you nailed it. I think that that's where Dave, my husband, and I, in particular, we like to begin as students, because this whole thing called life is wild. And if we pretend like we know any of it, then we're all idiots, right? So that's exactly why I think I've shared my story so intimately. And of course, there's things that I keep for myself and for my family. But I think that it's really important that we can bond as a community and come together and share our experiences, because it does make people feel less alone. It also makes me feel less alone. I learn so much from so many people in my community. And since I've started my Substack, just talking to other moms and other married people and whatever. So anyway, all that to be said, I have a husband. His name is Dave Annable. He is also an actor. So we are married almost 16 years, together 18 years. So in Hollywood terms, we've really crushed it. I mean,
beyond.
Two actors living under the same roof is and like successfully.
That's right.
Doing the thing. And also it's been a rocky road, and we talk about it, and nothing is perfect, but we're learning. So there's Dave. And then we have two daughters. We have Charlie, who is 10 years old. She's going to be 11 very soon. And then Andy, two girls, Andy, who's 3. And they're 7 years apart. So that'll kind of tell you a whole other story about our journey and, infertility. And finally, when Andy came, it was kind of when she needed to come. So we've got a little unit of 4, and we're doing it.
You sure are. You sure are. And in a beautiful, messy way, like we all are. But with that about Andy, like, don't you feel looking back that she came at the exact perfect time? I mean, it's with all of the things, but it's just, I always think it's really important to remember and remind ourselves, especially when we're in the thick of something or wanting something and it's not happening. Like, she really came. I can't imagine her coming earlier.
Me either. Like I think about it often, and I think about how much time actually I needed to spend with Charlie without having another child to take care of, so that I could really learn Charlie's brain and understand her and figure out the parenting thing, right? Like it's giving myself grace and also going through it and understanding what that means. Because when you bring another kid into the world, and God, I commend parents that do it one after the other, and there's beauty in that too. It ends up being a lot easier, actually. And maybe not at first, but for me, because Charlie was such a special kid and her brain worked so differently, and I knew that really early on, probably around 6 months old, that she was just processing the world in a different way, that I knew that I needed time to understand that and what that meant for me as a journey, or the journey as a parent, and what that meant for Dave and I as co-parents, and how to navigate that in a marriage. I mean, there's so much we could talk about, just even specifically as co-parents. And if you're parenting a kid that's neurotypical, that's one thing. And then when you're parenting a kid that has any kind of special need, that's a whole other thing. And so we've really navigated so much in our journey as a couple, but also as parents. And we still are. I mean, hopefully we never stop. It has been a wild ride.
So let's go back to the beginning, because I remember you telling me that there was always sort of this gut feeling that maybe Charlie was a little different, or was struggling, or was not sort of, I hate to say, like, lining up with the milestones that other babies are, because that used to really overwhelm me and frustrate me, because kids are not robots, right? They develop differently, but there was some intuition in you. So when did you first notice something? What was it? And how was that for you?
Yeah. And I think there's this other thing that happens to parents, that they, sometimes there's this shame that comes along with that gut feeling, where it's like, why I shouldn't be feeling this way. My kid is my kid, and this is the thing. And I just feel I'm like, why not talk about it? Because when you talk about it, then you can get answers. And then when you have a diagnosis, then you have something to work with. There's no shame or guilt in wanting to explore and more about your kid, So yeah,
Yes.
at around 6 months old, I just noticed that thing. It was the first thing that was like, I was in the mommy and me groups, and Charlie, it was almost like she even looked at the world differently with her eyes, and she was noticing things that I wasn't even noticing. And as a mom, and my instinct just kind of kicked in, that I needed to pay attention. Not that anything was wrong, not that there was anything that I needed to fix, but I was paying attention. And she was delayed on her hitting the milestones, right? She hit them, but she was delayed specifically in speech and walking, and just, putting things together in the way that other kids were doing. She was just not doing it. And so right about at 2 years old, I decided to look into some speech therapy for her because she was saying words, but it wasn't, the way that you read that she should be, stringing together sentences or any of that. So we got a diagnosis, and Charlie definitely has some speech and language processing disorders. But it wasn't until we moved to Austin and she was around 5 years old, because it's incredibly difficult to diagnose a kid before then. It's really hard. I mean, as a mom, and you do the best you can and you start reading and whatever. But it wasn't until we actually had the diagnosis that Charlie, we went to we got her a neuropsych evaluation, and she was diagnosed with severe ADHD and autism spectrum disorder. So, and then some speech and language processing disorders. So, with that information, it didn't freak me out. It didn't. The only thing it gave me was a map.
Yeah. Was there almost a relief in that?
Yes, because I didn't feel crazy. I didn't feel like I was making things up in my head. And for Dave and I, he has his own journey, and it allowed us to kind of come together and say, hey, this is what's going on. How do we best help her succeed? And that's all that I care about. I'm not ever trying to fix my kid. I'm not trying to put her in a box. I'm not any of that. Am I also trying to be a parent and understand how to discipline her and give her structure and not, let her use this diagnosis as like a crutch?
Right.
Sure. So it's very layered, but my only, goal here is to really understand her, understand me, and help her move forward with the best success possible. So that's what we've done. We've done the deep dive on therapy and understanding her brain, getting brain scans for ourselves. We've learned so much about our brains, by the way. I didn't know that I had ADHD until 2 years ago.
I know. And what a relief was that for you too? Right? To be like, nothing's like wrong with me. This is just how my brain works. You know what I mean?
100%. I was so frustrated going to school. I was a hardworking A student, but I had to work hard. I mean, we were just talking about this, Jamie, about how, there's required reading for our kids. And I remember reading pages and my thoughts would just kind of wander. And I'm like, what the hell did I just read? And then going back and having to reread something and then feeling so overwhelmed because I'm being timed on a test that I have to give answers to. But my brain was so scattered, and I wasn't diagnosed when I was a kid. And so I'm proud of how we've handled the journey and how we've slowly introduced different modalities to Charlie and hopefully not overwhelm her. And when we do, then we learn, and then we kind of reroute and we get back on track.
What was the road to the diagnosis? What did it look like? Because I know for some parents, that could take a long time, and it did take quite a bit of time, right? It took you seeing different therapists or therapists and recommending other type of therapy. Is that kind of what the road was like for you guys?
Yeah, it was. The first time that I knew that I had to take this seriously and really look into, and I didn't even know where to start. I was like, how do you even diagnose a kid? What do you do? And so it was through there's the public school system. You can get an IEP. You can start doing testing through there. But really through the neuropsych evaluation was where you sit down with a psychologist and she goes through different tests and figures out, how the brain works. And you have a diagnosis basically. But Charlie, the reason why I knew that I needed to do this was because Charlie looked at me one day. She was 5 years old. We were leaving preschool, I think it was at the time. And she said, I can't learn, Mom, and it stinks. And that's when I knew that I had to go full on and really figure out what she needs.
I can't imagine hearing my child say that. Like, take me to that moment. Like, how did you feel? Because I just want to also acknowledge that for her to be able to say that and I know that you know this, like that is because of you. That is, and Dave, like that is because of your like constant efforts in the different therapies and trying things out. Because to me, it's not showing her that something's wrong. It's showing her how much you love her and support her and you wanting to help her. And for her to be able to have that language at 5 years old is actually incredibly mature and incredibly intelligent. And I just want to acknowledge that, because that is
Yeah.
because of you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. That her being able to say that came from us getting multiple calls at school about her poking a kid, about her acting in a defiant way, about her not listening, about certain behaviors just starting to really shine through. And Dave and I, had to sit down and say, well, what's happening here? Why? We're not the parents that allow any of this kind of behavior to happen. We're kind people. We show her through our actions and by example what's going on that she's doing this. It feels like there's something deeper that we haven't figured out and that she's not telling us.
Mm-hmm.
And so after the however many times, one of her teachers said, this happened today again. And so I talked to Charlie on the way home and I said, buddy, let's break this down. How are you feeling at school? Are you, just asked her a series of questions. And all of a sudden it was like she needed to say it and she didn't know how to say it and it wasn't clicking for her. And it just came out. It was, I can't learn and it stinks. I was like, oh my God, this has nothing to do with her. She's trying to get the attention because she can't get it out, And yeah, so that really that sentence right there started.
Did that sentence give you relief as well? How did that make you feel hearing her say that?
Well, and it wasn't just that. It was that she said, I feel different. My brain works differently. Because Charlie, sometimes she has these very, very clear moments where she says things that are so emotionally intelligent. She understands herself more than anybody else. And then it can kind of go away and she'll just go on with her day and whatever. But when she's clear, it is, you better listen because you're getting the answers right there. And that's what she was doing. She said, I feel different. I don't belong. All of these other kids know how to do things that I don't know how to do. And I'm frustrated and I can't learn and it stinks. So, I felt so much gratitude that she was able to express that to me in the way that she did. And then I felt heartbroken because I didn't know what to do as a parent. I felt desperate to find something that would make her fit in, that would make her stop feeling so frustrated, that would make her all of a sudden understand. But that's, I can only do what I can do. Charlie can only do what she can do. And there's a lot now that I've learned to just give our entire family grace. Because I want to fix certain parts of myself. And then there's some times where I'm like, I just need to start accepting and I need to set myself up for success where I know I'm going to succeed in some situation and others, it's just not going to be right for me. And that's going to be the same thing for Charlie, for Dave, for Andy. All of us have specific needs. Us as humans, we all have specific needs and we all need to be a little more gracious with ourselves. We need to move slowly. Our brains are going. We want to fix. Instead of trying to understand our strengths, helping our weaknesses, and then being right where we are and having that be okay. To stop taking things so personally. If Charlie's, like any kid, they say some shit to you and you're like, what is happening here? And then I'm like, she's overwhelmed. Her feelings are bigger than what she's saying to you right now. So I stopped taking things personally.
Yeah. I mean, so many, by the way, like all of these things you're saying is like for everyone to understand. And I think that you guys have worked so hard to just parent Charlie in a way that's not trying to convince her that she's normal, not trying to convince her that she's different, just trying to help her understand herself. And you've written in your Substack so beautifully about replacing, like you were just talking about, shame with compassion. Because I think, especially for any child, but with a child with special needs, right, that learns differently, plays differently, and can't be out in the world yet to find a world that fits them, right? She's still having to, unfortunately, or fortunately for her own learning's sake, like still fit into certain, ways of living with school and everything, even though her brain is different. How can we navigate? Anyone can navigate this with their kids. What are the conversations you have around this? And with yourself and with Charlie, for anyone that might be in this situation and being like, how do I help my kid have this feelings for themselves?
Here's where I really think it starts. And I want everybody to listen.
Yes.
You got to work on yourself first. It starts with you. And it's so easy to play the victim and the blame game and why me and why is this happening and whatever. If your state of mind as a parent, as a human, is not right, you cannot expect your family dynamic to be as well. And that goes for any parent, period. But especially for parents that are navigating any kind of special needs, because it is overwhelming, it's frustrating, it's debilitating. It can make you feel like everything is coming down on you because you don't have the answers sometimes. So you've got to really do whatever it takes to find that practice that works for you, whether it's meditation, is it exercise, is it fucking shopping, is it going and having a glass of wine with your friends and venting. You have to find an outlet that can bring you back to yourself and find that calm that you need in your home, because it starts there. If you're not on the same page with your partner, or if you're a single parent, whatever, this is only for you. But if you have a partner, you have to get on the same page. You cannot argue or bring in an energy in front of the kids. It will fuck them up.
Yeah.
I'm saying this from experience. I was raised in a home where my parents are amazing. They're aces, but they fought in front of me. And that tension just pushed me the other way. So if you start with yourself and you start learning to accept yourself, love yourself, figure out how to get yourself mentally clear, then you're going to already have the tools to help your kid regardless of what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie specifically, she'll loop about certain things and she'll get stuck and hyper focus on certain things. So I have to learn how to redirect her. That's also going to be her superpower.
Yeah.
Her superpower is that she can lock into something when she wants to. And if she likes it and if it's something that interests her, she can lock in and you can't take her away from it. And she'll be damned if she doesn't make whatever she wants to happen. Some things are crazy. Like she wants to build a robot flying dog that has AAA batteries that like will go up and down and left and right. And, our dear friend Kelty said that she was one of Santa's elves. So now she's thinks that Kelty can make this happen for her. So I'm like, Kelty, that's on you. Good luck. But, it's the age-old thing, staying calm, understanding to identify what your kid is going through, because sometimes what comes out isn't what they're actually wanting to say. For Charlie, she gets really sad and talks about our old dog dying, Navy.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's this thing where I know if Charlie's had a bad day or something's happened, she'll start crying about Navy. And so then we sit down and we start to unpack what happened during the day. And almost always she'll come out with eventually what she's really bothered about. But that comes with paying attention.
I mean, that took me 40 years to do.
Dude, still, right? Like sometimes it's hard to do. You want to come in, you need to cook dinner, you have other dynamics. I have another kid I have to take care of. I have a husband who's also needy. Like I have a job that I have to work hard at.
That requires every inch of you, like every
inch
bit.
of you.
Yeah.
Every bit of you. So life is overwhelming. But if you're not paying attention to the things that need to be paid attention to, you're going to miss it all, especially the way that your kid works and what your kid needs.
The following message is brought to you by Novartis. Hi, I'm Jamie-Lynn Sigler. When it comes to relapsing MS treatments, your choice matters. That's why talking to your doctor about your options is a big deal. But how do you know what to ask? Figuring that out can be daunting. That's why I partner with Novartis to create an MS treatment decision guide. It's packed with helpful info and questions for your doctor to help make an informed decision. Trust me, the more prepared you are, the more confident you'll feel. Download the guide right to your phone only at treatmentdecisionguide.com. You're right. When you pay attention, the little things that they're saying are the clues. I mean, I can think about it with my own kids, like little things that they'll say in passing or Bo will say in passing, and I'll think to myself, okay, when we're in a less chaotic environment, when his brother's not around, when I put him to bed tonight, I'm going to ask him about that. And it ends up like finding out like something that he's been holding on to or didn't know how to talk about. So that is such beautiful and important advice. And also, back to, I think, parenting in general is an opportunity for this, but it's really a chance to really get in touch with your intuition and really have such a good relationship and trusting it. And like you say, not feeling shame around asking questions, not thinking, oh, I fucked it up. It's like you're never going to get it all right. It's an opportunity to just like work and evolve. But, I think the biggest stressor I feel in parenting, and I can only imagine it, and I have seen it with in your situation, is like, it really affects my marriage, right? Parenting. Yeah. I mean, we're two different people. We're coming from two different perspectives, even though all our values and morals and the way we want to raise our kids are aligned. How do you and Dave stay connected in those really difficult moments, in the overwhelming moments? Like, what brings you guys together?
Listen, Dave and I have had a major journey. If we didn't have kids, we'd be fucking great.
That's what Cutter and I say all the time. I was like, we would have so much fun.
I mean, you get Dave and I in a hotel on a staycation. We are buddies and we have fun and we laugh with each other and we're like, oh, right, we like each other. It's just that, I mean, and it's not just kids, it's life, it's responsibilities, it's navigating two careers, it's what everybody has to deal with. But we've had to work really hard to be co-parents and stay married.
Yeah.
Because we don't always agree on certain parenting ways. He's more of an old football coach. I'm a little more of a softie. I can probably take a little bit from him. He can probably take a little bit from me. But when we are in a situation where Dave doesn't deal, like say somebody gets hurt, you cannot be around him. He's like, he wants to get in there and hold the kid. And I'm like, what do you mean? The kid wants me. No. He wants to hold it does not work. So we've had to do a lot of work also on not bringing that energy in front of our kids. And that's what I was talking about before, where now we have a code word. If one of us feels strongly about criticizing something that one of us did as parents in front of the kids, whatever it was, gave her juice that we weren't supposed to, or, said that she could do something and went back on our word, whatever it is, we don't say it in front of the kids. If I need to talk to him about it right then and there, I will throw a code word out. I don't know what it is. Fucking bunny, whatever. Yeah. Make a code word though. And that has allowed for us to realize that the code word at its core means that we're a team.
That's so smart.
It means that I'm not trying to override you. I'm not trying to minimize you. I'm noticing something and I'm on your team, and just trust me here. Let's go and chat it out.
Wow, I have to do that because I'm going to be honest, I'm really bad at that. Like when I feel like Cutter is being a little too harsh or he's yelling and it's not necessary, like I think I'm standing up for the kids and showing them like that's not okay. Okay, we don't do this, and he gets so mad at
Yeah.
me and so upset, and he's right. He's right. And I'm going to come up with a code word. That is really good advice. I really like that.
Yeah, because and by the way, the only reason why we came up with that was because of us doing it in front of each other,
Sure.
and me feeling like I wanted to stand up for my kids when I thought he was being too harsh or whatever it is. It comes from literally just understanding that that ain't it.
And sometimes we have to have our partner show us that. You know what I mean? Like sometimes like you're saying, we're on the same team. And that's what I would always say to Cutter. I'm like, I'm saying this because I don't want this to hurt your relationship with them. I don't want to feel like that, and in that moment, it doesn't feel like that. And so I
no,
get
because
it.
he feels like you're minimizing him,
Exactly. And he thinks I'm like putting an image in our kid's head that not to listen to him or take him seriously or whatever. And I get that. I validate that, but I really, really like that advice a lot.
At the end of the day, you just want to be on the same team. You are inside of your home, you are a team. And that goes for your kids as well. So including them and giving them that power to feel like I have something to say. I learned from my dear friend Andrea Bendewald. She was like, use a talking stick. Sometimes we're passionate people. We talk over each other and whatever. I'm like, wait, we're a team. Somebody has something to say. You have the talking stick. Now everybody has to listen to what you have to say, whether it's Andy or Charlie or whatever. And it just creates for a better, calmer, more peaceful way to navigate our home, because you're all
strong personalities. You're all really smart, intelligent, passionate people. You're raising two girls that have Cuban blood in them. I get
big
it.
time.
I get it.
A lot of spice.
I want to talk about the invisible work, because all of this perspective and all of these tools and all of this thing comes from the school meetings, the doctors, the advocating, the worrying, the constant planning. I think that's another way that you can make people feel less alone, is them knowing that they're just these efforts it's just kind of what it takes, and it's part of it. What is the part you feel like that no one talks about with that sort of invisible work behind the scenes that people aren't understanding? I feel like me as your best friend, I've been able to see and be privy to a lot of it, and it's I admire you so much for your efforts, truly.
Yeah. I, I think that I still have such a hard time with the amount of making the appointments and doing all of the paperwork and
Well, you have an
filling out.
ADHD brain.
Totally. And it is so overwhelming to me. And so then I can really fall into that. I see all of my other friends more capable in that way. And then I start to fall into, oh God, I forgot to do this for her. Am I still setting her up for success in the best way because I forgot to do this and then I forgot to do that? And so then I'm like, the work for me is to slow down and to understand that I know that I'm doing the best. I know that with the resources that I have, all of this work and all of the things that Charlie has learned is because Dave and I have sat down and found the best possible therapist, and, have 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 done our best. Now, could I do better? Yeah, 100%. But there's always going to
What's
be that
better?
like thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I just have to stop beating myself up for
Mm-hmm.
not for forgetting the fucking dentist appointment or whatever it is, because the other work overrides the minutia,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But it's not easy. None of the work is easy, by the way, but it's all going to be worth it. So when somebody is like, God, there's you don't even understand. And it goes for you too. Like all of your invisible work that people don't see. And you're showing up with this like positive fucking attitude and your perspective is incredible, but it's because you've done all of this to get there. And I've done that in my own way to get to the point where I can be in front of people and not have a full breakdown about how tough the day was,
Yeah. Yeah. But also you can and say it with clarity and conviction and self-acceptance. I think that anything that's hard gives you that. I mean, everyone should always feel proud of any work that they're putting into anything, regardless of the results, because that's like where the real stuff is. The real results is just from the work.
Yeah. And I think also talking about it, that's the big thing, where you can do all of this work and you're still, not wanting to talk about it to people. I think that the moment you can open up a conversation like the one that we're having right now and be honest about where we're at. I'm not going to have great days. I still don't have, I'm frustrated and it is hard. But the moment I release it and I talk about it, journaling was another thing that I think we talked about.
We did. Yeah. The other day. Yeah.
That's also something that will like brain dump and get it all out, because there can be just so many stories that you also create in your head about whether you're a good parent, whether you're a good partner, whether you're a good person, whether you're doing blah, 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 blah. It's way too much. So getting it out, releasing it, and then saying, all right, I'm good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah. I was telling Odie the other day that I read some article where it was saying like, I forget what the words exactly are, but like the most effective way to actually like realign, to calm your nervous system, to have the purest energy you need for the day is not exercise. It's not meditating. It's not all the things it's not red lights. It's journaling. It's literally just like you said, brain dump. Don't even read it back, rip it up, burn it, throw it away in the trash, but like clean house, clean the cobwebs, dust a little bit, and then you'll be clearer. Then you can act from a place that's more, aligned with who you are. And it's not to say that you're still going to get it all right, but it allows you to have all of that extra shit that doesn't add any value out of the way.
Yeah. And I also I'm reading, so Laura Reed suggested a book called The Whole Brain Child. And I was actually also talking to another friend of mine whose husband passed away. And she said, I have started writing out what that day felt like.
Wow.
Because the trauma can be so deep and all of your experiences become something else in your brain, that actually, and it's like a statistic, that getting it out and really, and like seeing it on paper and seeing the event that happened can start to like release it from your brain and realize what it is and shed it, You're never going to forget things that happen. Trauma is trauma and it's real, and grief and all of that. But for kids as well, because their little brains are they're like little sponges right now. And if anything happens that feels traumatic or whatever, it's so important to talk to them about that thing and not minimize their share, and really like help them get it out there. It's like their own way of journaling if they can't write yet, where you can identify something, talk about it, and then they're able to kind of release it, versus us always going to the default of like, you're good, I'm good, we're good, let's go.
Bo's therapist had him do this exercise once where it was maybe like 8 or 9 months after his hospitalization, where he was really struggling at school and with his self-worth and his identity. And he was so he was always trying to be positive. Odie, you know it. It was like we would
Yes.
almost like talk shit about him behind his back, being like, he's like, literally, it's too
Buddy the
much.
elf.
Like he was Buddy the
Yeah.
Elf, where he'd be like, I'm great, mom. But I knew it. I knew that underneath there was the pain that was simmering. And he did, for whatever reason, whether it was protect me, protect himself, if he had so much trauma or PTSD and he didn't want to face it, that he just didn't want to talk about it. And his therapist had the wherewithal and this brilliant idea. She drew like a dartboard, right? And in the center of the bullseye, she wrote ADEM, which was the sickness that he had. She handed him a stack of papers and she said, I want you to write down everything you feel about ADEM. And we're going to crumple it up and we're going to throw it as hard as we can at that bullseye. And she said for the first time, he cried in her office. He got angry. He got upset. He got mad. But when I came in at the end of the session, he was so excited to show me. He was so excited to tell me that he finally got these feelings out. He was able to understand that he was mad that it happened to him and he hated it and he was angry. And it was like journaling for him. It was like the getting all those feelings out that he didn't even understand or know that he was like carrying.
Yes, that's actually brilliant. I'm going to try that with Charlie.
Yeah, you should.
That's so great. It's that thing. And I think we all need to do that because we carry around everybody has these traumas that we carry and we don't even know how to identify them sometimes. And by journaling or sharing or getting it out, you're like, oh shit, I was really angry about that.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that that's what I was feeling. And it came out in a different way. It's Charlie sharing about her dead dog, I'm like,
Yeah.
hold on.
Yeah.
I got to get
something under there.
There are things. And if we unearth them and if we're not afraid to unearth them, because a lot of times we actually really create these stories that are way bigger in our head than if we just get it out. We're like, oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
That feels so much better to share.
That's right. I want to go to schools for a minute because you've talked about how much schools matter. And I know what a difference it's made for you in finding this current school that Charlie is in. What should parents know or think to ask for or look for if they're trying to find the right environment? And how does a parent maybe know if a school isn't serving their child anymore and their needs?
Again, I think you have to pay attention to your kid and how you know your kid and you know them at their best self. And if they're coming home from school and you notice something is off, something probably is off. Now, that's not to say that, they didn't just have a bad day, whatever, that happens as well. But I noticed that Charlie wasn't able to do some of the really simple things that I know that if I sat down with her, she'd be able to do with a little patience. Do you know what I mean? So there are some wonderful resources that you can find if you're going through the public school system. And a lot of times you can have an aide in the room that is specific to your child that can help through with transitions and, different things. Now, that can also backfire because then that kind of can put a target on a kid and have other kids say, why does that person need that? And so there's going to be a period of navigation, of tinkering, I like to call it, whether it's you're exploring different supplements, medication, therapies. You're probably not going to nail it the first time. You might find things that you are going to take from and you're going to use forever. But then there's going to be a period of, talk to the teachers. You have to talk to the teachers. And I suggest this with any kid, not just with a kid that is neurodiverse. Ask them questions. That's what they're there for. Talk to them about how your kid is doing socially in school. What do you feel like they need? Like, that's something that I think is easy to slip through your mind because of everything else that life brings to you. But take that time to really just get curious about who your kid is when you're not there. That's going to be a big deal. I learned that Charlie really succeeds when she's more one-on-one. So now she's at a school that, there are certain classes where she has one-on-one help with teachers. Now you can get financial support. We're fortunate enough that we're able to do this for her. Not everybody can. And I absolutely recognize that. Such a privilege. But I really do think that even if you just have certain IEPs or ARDs set up for your kid through the public school system, or finding therapies, people are so willing to help. There's usually little communities that have been set up for children so that you can talk to other parents about, where to get them even socially accepted. Charlie has been in little groups where she's learned how to have a conversation with another kid. And she didn't know how to do that before, and she's still learning. But there are so many different ways that you can get creative about helping your kid. And it usually starts by getting curious in the school. So whatever it is, just have those, get curious and have those conversations with the teachers. You're not being too nosy. You can't ever be. This is your kid. Do you know what I mean?
I'm so proud of you. I just want to pause and say that. I really am. I really am. You're a naturally curious person, and it has served you so much in this way and in parenting, but just the way that you continue to advocate and can communicate the way you've advocated, and have no doubt help other people. Do you think you were always like this, or do you think Charlie brought this out in you?
I think definitely Charlie brought it out. She will hands down go down as my greatest teacher.
Yeah.
For sure. She has shown me the parts of me that I didn't know that I had that are now probably my greatest strengths. I have we've gone up and down in our relationship, and I really do at the end of it know that she feels safe with me and I feel safe with her, and that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
I will say though, I have learned through my own therapy to have some tools that have helped pull things out for my relationship with Charlie, and one of them is to quiet the noise and get curious. And that should go for any relationship that I have, certainly with my marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't be afraid. Ask questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's something that worried you most in those early years that no longer keeps you up at night?
I was worried that she would really struggle with making friendships. And that has been at the forefront of my mind and Dave's mind for so long, because really, as humans, we just want to be accepted. We want to find our people. We want to feel loved. We want to feel understood. And that wasn't happening for her for a long time. And now she has this little group of friends that just warms my heart. I see them talking and laughing together. And, even though it's okay that not everybody is her person. And I think that's okay for me too. Learning to accept that, we only need a few that just love us and get us and are going to be our ride or dies. And she's starting to get there. And so I don't worry about that as much anymore. And that's a big deal.
Definitely. That's a huge deal. And I mean, we've all seen it. We've all seen her grow and learn to love and accept herself. And it's been such a privilege.
Also, your kids and all of our friends' kids have done a remarkable job of accepting Charlie and understanding her and really bringing her in. I think that there's and this is one of my life's purposes, I know it, is really trying to get people to see another way. I didn't think that way when I first had Charlie, and, thinking about how other people's brains work differently and how I might need to change the way that I think in order to accept them. And I think all of our kids that we're raising together are resilient and strong and kind and gracious, because we each have different brains to work with in our group. And I think it's a beautiful thing to see that they can all come together and support each other. It's great.
Oh, yeah. And they've learned that friends are family, which is
Yes.
just the best. Okay.
Big time.
I'm going to we're going to close this out soon, but I want to do a couple of rapid fire questions to celebrate one of my favorite little girls in the world because she is a true star. Okay. Ready? So these are rapid. One word that describes Charlie.
Oh, God. Excitable.
One thing that Charlie has taught Andy.
I was going to say complicated, but let's not do that one.
Complicated is great.
She's so
interesting. It's interesting. Never boring.
One thing she's taught me.
Taught Andy.
Humor.
Yes. What's something Charlie is better at than anyone you know?
Negotiating.
What makes her laugh every single time?
Farts.
When do you feel the most proud of her?
Her compassion, like the way that she's able to, I think it's her emotional intelligence,
yes.
I would say.
And when does she feel most like herself?
When she's around the people that love her and accept her, like you.
Okay, so for parents that are listening, there might be someone listening who is just beginning a journey like yours. Maybe they've noticed something in their child. Maybe their child just got diagnosed. Maybe they're scared. What would you want them to know?
That there are phases, and that's something that they can be, and they can move on from them. Things aren't always going to feel so heavy. When I first had Charlie, everything, and I think new parents can relate to this, but I think you make these colic to be the thing that is going to last forever. And then it doesn't, And so I think that when you have a diagnosis that feels overwhelming, especially when it has to do with your child, know that you will have the strength, you will find it to push through, and that things don't always last forever. You can create a story in your head that's way bigger than it actually is. So just stay the course, be present, do the work, find your calm, however that is, and it will be okay.
Beautiful. If you could go back and sit beside the version of yourself who just started this journey, what would you tell her?
To calm the fuck down. Of course I was in fight or flight, and I just was so overwhelmed, and I didn't have.
That's so important for people to know, though. It's so real. Yes.
You know what I mean? It's okay also to be angry and to feel all of the things. Again, feel them all. They're all there. They're all real. You don't have to minimize your situation because somebody else's situation is worse or less. Also don't have to be a victim because somebody has it easier. Fuck it. Then you're going to be more resilient. So learn to accept the situation that you're in, I would say, more than anything, because we all have our different journeys. But acceptance, it's the triple A's: accept, adapt, and appreciate. And if you can do those three, then you're fucking golden.
I love it. All right, my last question. What do you hope Charlie knows, beyond any diagnosis, beyond school, beyond everything else, about who she is?
I just hope that she knows this, but she is so supported and loved that she'll just never be alone.
Yeah.
She will always have a hand, a shoulder to cry to talk to, whether that's myself or Dave. And if we're not around, it's the support system that we've built. She's just never going to be alone. And she just has such a beautiful gift that she can offer this world. And I just want her to believe in herself,
Yes. And we all feel that way. We all just literally are feel so lucky to have front row seats to see who she continues to become and what she's going to do in this world. Cause I have no doubt it's going to be huge. Well, yeah. Odie, thank you so much for allowing us into this very personal chapter of your family story and for making other people feel less alone. I can't say enough amazing things about you. Odie has a Substack called Esta, that is so fucking amazing. You all need to subscribe because she talks about everything, about family, marriage, but also about the best clothes to buy, makeup, skincare. She is our guru for everything. She is a perfect human being in my eyes. I love you so much. Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you.
I love
so
you.
much.
I love you. I love you.